Welcome to the Clueless Luthier. I am Mark, and I'm going to start working on an inlay for my wife's bass guitar. And I'll try to not block too much of this. And it's a rising phoenix, which is sort of her spirit animal, if you will. And I'm going to use a combination stain on that side. Interesting. Of gold abalone for the bird, and there will also be red epoxy for the fire down here, and I think I haven't talked to her about this yet. A little bit of border too, but we'll see how that goes. So I am going to move over to my inlay station, and we'll kind of start looking at it. So when I printed this out, I printed a whole bunch of them out because I'm going to waste a piece of paper anyway, and I may need several by the time I'm done. But my plan, as I'm looking at the size of these, I have multiple pieces of this. I mean, I just can't do it all as one because it's too big. And so I'm going to break it into three basic pieces: the middle body and the wings. Now there's a little bit here it's not going to quite cover, but that's okay. Based on my plan, that's going to be red anyway. So first thing I'm going to do, let's see, I think what I want to do is cut this straight down pretty much. All right, so right now I'm going to do one wing because I'm going to use what I end up with on this side, hopefully to have a form for the other side, so they're as much alike as possible. And then we're going to take this, pick the best part. Boy, that's really weird. Never saw that before on this. And I can get that, can I? Glue that on. What I've decided to do, is I have this glued on one of them. I took the other one for the other wing, and I used the painter's tape super glue trick to glue them together. So I'm going to attempt to cut these all at once, and I think I'm going to be using doing some Dremel work for detail, but yeah, I've never quite done that before, so we will see. Okay, so I have these cut out, so I can get them to focus. This is actually both wings. They're still taped together. I'm going to do a little bit more smoothing with, I actually use a nail file to some of it, but a little beefier one now and then. But, so I'm going to work on that a little bit, and then it'll be ready to inlay. Okay, so here are the pieces I cut. I had a little bit of breakage on the tips, but I think I can save that when I put them in. They're pretty fragile when they get that small. Here's what I started with. So underneath, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this in red epoxy. I'll color it red. And the outline will be cut larger than this so that the red shows up. all the way around the body. And then something like this. This will not be an exact thing. It's too, but the idea is flames would be coming out beneath it. So next thing I need to do is mark this out. I'll start with this, get that fixed where I want it. And I've got to do a little bit of work on here to make that match better, fit in better. But then we'll get that, and then I'll work outward for the wings once I know that that's in a stable position. All right, this is a little bit of an awkward position, but I have better light out here than I do on what I kind of consider my routing table. So I'm going to try it here and we'll see how it goes. Here we go. So I kind of got on a roll and totally forgot to video this part. Although I have a feeling if it turns out the way I think it's going to, you're going to get to see part of it again. So what I did is I took epoxy, and you can't see it, but down here I cut in what are to be like flames that it's rising out of. And then around the edges, should be some, but it should be that color. What I didn't think about was this is kind of translucent and the background is black. So I don't know. We'll see once I get it sanded off. But that's the next step. So pass this down. That'll help there. And take this off. Yeah, it's almost impossible to see. I had outlined in pencil, then I used nappa and it took it off. But maybe you can see down here, there's 3 spots. They should have been really red. So I'm going to step back on this. I'm going to do what I should have done. I have a small piece of ebony. I'm going to do some experiments to see how I can get this to look the way I want before I take another stab at this. Well, here are the results of my test. What I did is I routed out different pockets, and I put different paints in here. The paint didn't matter. These are darker because I added more red after that one. I even used aluminum foil with super glue to see if that made a difference. It doesn't. The biggest thing is not having that black background and possibly even some of the ebony getting in, I'm not sure, is what made the difference. So I'm going to route these back out and redo it. All right, so I have these all routed out again. And what I'm going to do, I didn't try this before, I want to try to keep the paint from really sticking to the top, because it's going to get slopped. It's too small to really be delicate about the situation. So I'm using a chapstick for lack of anything more appropriate. And go around the top edge. Looks pretty good. Alright, now I'm using a Q-tip. I don't have a really tiny brush right now. Could use one because I'm not gonna, it'll be tough to get in there. There we go. If last time is any example, I might actually need another coat, but we will see. I think that's all in there. One more wipe. And this is all going to be sanded down anyway, but let's minimize that. Okay, I'm going to let this dry up. Okay, I have mixed up some more epoxy with red dye. This is the paint's dried, I hope. And now I'm just gonna get this to go in. Sure, I got way more than I need because I always seem to. Yes, indeed. Take some of this extra off that I can. All right. It'll clean up, but I don't want to take off too much because it'll settle. All right, and I'm going to let this dry overnight. So we'll be back. All right, well, it's all done. I'm not going to sand it anymore because there'll be more sanding to be done. I give it a B minus. I was hoping a couple things would turn out a little bit better, but yeah, I did some new stuff here. So anyway, moving on. Now we're going to jump ahead in time to find out how this ends. So we're doing a little time travel. Between the last clip and now, I had, and you'll see it later, glued this on, did sanding, shaping, and finally just decided I did not like this, the Inlay. Jen wasn't really happy with it either. So I tried an experiment, and I took that all out, and I redid it in red, but also in yellow, because fire has yellow, especially where it's hotter. In full disclosure, I still don't like it, but she does, and it's her guitar. So we're gonna go ahead and go forward with it. And just know that the next few clips, or at least the first section, is done with the previous one because I'm not gonna refilm it. So there you go. See you later. Bye.